Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thank you so much for joining today's Beginners Investing Masterclass. Just to make sure that everything's working okay, maybe you can type in a number 1 if you can hear me and my microphone. Let me check here, and also let me know where you're tuning in from and your age, so this way I can get a good sense of who my demographics are for today. But I'm super excited that you guys are here. We're going to talk about all things investing today, especially if you're someone who is a beginner investor, someone who wants to get started with investing, but you're not too sure how to get started, where to get started, how much to invest, what to buy, how to build a $1 million account. I'm going to go through all of these topics today and talk about the magic of compound interest. All right, so if I see you in the comments, I'm going to try my best to give you a little bit of a shout out. There are a lot of people typing in the number 1 right now. I see Anthony Supino's here, Carlos, Michelle. I see Wanda, Elsie, Anna, Mara Vilo, and Mickey Morrow, and Neptune, K Rivas, Carrie Ray, Nicole Jang. I see Lanny Dulay and Kenya. TC is from California. Awesome. Christina is 53. Michelle is from Florida. Awesome. I see a lot of people from California. I'm actually in California right now in SoCal. It's nice that it's warming up here. I see Arlene B. Tabunda is here, and Kenya Brownie, and Leticia Rojas is here. I see Charlene and Mark Gonzalez, Conan, Jen Johnson, Brandy Wilson. Awesome. Cool. And just to also let you guys know, you can feel free to share this live stream with a friend or a family member by clicking on the share button down below. You can share it with someone who you think this is going to help, especially with someone who also wants to get started with investing too. All right, so without any further ado, let's get started. And I highly encourage all of you guys to have a notebook, a pencil, maybe another tablet or a laptop, so this way you can take notes, because the whole goal for this masterclass is to give you a lot of value as possible. So this way you guys can, leave after the masterclass with a lot of knowledge, okay? All right, so let me see here. Let me share my screen. All right, so just to do a quick introduction, if you don't really know who I am, you're new to my page, my channel. Hi, my name's Steve. I am a wealth coach, an investor and trader, and a former public school teacher. And if you do a quick Google search on me, most likely you've seen me on Business Insider, Bloomberg, Entrepreneur, Benzinga, NASDAQ, MarketWatch, BuzzFeed. And I really try my best to share with everyone all over the world that investing, being money conscious, saving, budgeting, it's an attainable thing. I know that money, for a lot of us, it's kind of scary. We were never taught about money growing up, but I'm here to tell you that yes, it is scary in the beginning, especially if we were never taught by our parents or teachers. But once we learn it, it becomes second nature to us, just like riding a bike or driving a car. So are you guys ready? If you are, go ahead and type in the number 1. I just want to remind you guys that this entire class is for educational purposes. I'm going to try my best to keep all of these topics as easy to understand as possible, just coming from my public school teaching background. And I encourage all of you guys to keep an open and positive mindset. I know a lot of the things that I talk about today, it is going to sound a little bit strange, a little bit weird, because again, we were never taught about money. So I encourage all of you guys to have an open mind, okay, to this whole investing world. And remember that this is a no judgment zone. I know a lot of you already probably have a high yield savings account, or maybe you're investing in a CD, or some of you already have a Roth IRA. Some of you have no idea what I'm talking about. And that's okay too, all right? I know everyone's in different places in their journey to financial freedom. And the most important thing is, as long as you're getting started, you're saying, yes, I can totally do this. That's what's really important, okay? All right, so before we even talk about investing, I kind of want to address some of the lies that we were taught, maybe growing up, or even some of the things that we were taught even now as an adult, right? And it usually comes from these 3 different places. The first is a job. And a lot of times when we go to work, many people will tell us that in order to become successful, We just have to go to a 9 to 5 job for 30, 40, 50 years and just save our money. And by the time we are 60, 65 years old, that's kind of like the magic golden number, then we can retire comfortably. But I'm going to share with you that this is not necessarily true. Number two, it comes from the finance world. A lot of people that you see on the news, like CNBC, Yahoo Finance, a lot of people will say, in order to be a successful, good investor, you have to have like a PhD in mathematics or in business, and you have to be a good stock picker to be good at investing. But I'm going to demystify this and share with you that this is not true too. And the third is from the government. A lot of people in the government will say that, hey, by the time you're 60, 65 years old, don't worry, we will take care of you by giving you Social Security checks, and that's it. You can live off of these Social Security checks. But I'm here to tell you that, again, this is not necessarily true, and that just by relying on Social Security, it's kind of a dangerous thing. And we don't even know if Social Security is going to be around anymore in the future. And that it's really important for all of us to become financially independent so that we don't need to rely on anyone else, especially the government. So what if I told you that there was a way out of this type of thinking that maybe your parents or your coworkers taught you throughout your entire life? Maybe there is a way to get out of this entire rat race. And there is, and that's the whole purpose of this entire masterclass. It's to show you that we can start investing. So this way we can reach financial freedom much sooner than we thought possible. So go ahead and type in a number 1 if you know that you should be investing, but fear is holding you back. Type 1 if you already invest, but you're kind of confused if you're investing in the right things. Type 1 if you have minimal debt, but you want to pay it off and as soon as possible so that you can start investing right away. And type 1 if you want to generate passive income while investing for the long term, because you can actually do both at the same time. Well, guess what? Today's masterclass is made just for you. And I highly encourage all of you to stay until the very end of this masterclass, because I am going to do a Q&A session and be giving away $40 value gifts to everyone in this room right now. All right, and taking a look at the chat, I see a lot of you are typing in the number 1. Suzanne says 1, Alan Parker F says 1, Charlene, Danroy Panase says 1, Samantha Yim says 1. I see Mark from Moving Mind says 1, K Rivas, John says 1, Candace and Jimmy and Crypto say 1. Awesome. So a couple questions for you. Were you told that you need to be smart and know how to pick stocks in order to be a good investor? Or maybe you were told that you need a lot of money to get started with investing. Or maybe you were told that you need to be absolutely debt-free to invest. Well, I'm here to tell you that these are all myths that people told you, and I'm going to demystify all of these in today's class. And then this is kind of the reason why I started Call to Leap. And right now we have over, I think, 3 million followers across all of my social media platforms and over 4,000 private members in our community right now. And I just wanted to take some time to say thank you for everyone who has supported me all these years. I really hope that you guys found a lot of value within my channels. And I really encourage you guys to start budgeting, start saving, and start investing too. So a lot of times when people see me, maybe at Target, or they'll DM me, or they'll email me, the first question that I usually get from people is, Steve, is it really possible to become financially free before the age of 65 years old? And the answer is, yeah, absolutely. But it really comes down to what it is that we do now, what our habits are right now. Because the person that we become later in the future, it is really predicted by our habits that we make today, all right? So we're going to talk about these positive wealth habits today. And a lot of times when people first see me, discover me, they say, oh, you're probably a millionaire because your parents were rich, right? But this is absolutely not true. My parents are actually immigrants from Taiwan. They came over back in the 80s. They had me, they raised me, and growing up, we struggled a lot with money. My dad went to school. My mom was kind of like the one who was the person who kind of took care of the family financially. She worked at a lot of different jobs. She worked as a waitress, and also as a maid. And I remember growing up, I used to follow her around after school, where we would go house to house to all these rich people's homes, and I would see her clean their homes every day, like vacuum their carpets, fold their clothes, cook food for them, cook dinner for them. And I remember that as I would observe her from their family room or the living room while I'm doing homework, I could see that my mom was always super stressed out, super tired, because it's a physically demanding job. And after every shift, my mom and we would go back to our little Toyota Corolla, and sometimes she'd be, I don't know, just really sad, and she would turn to me and say, "Steve, when you grow up, I don't want you to be like me. I want you to grow up so you can 用你的头，不是用你的手." So translated from Mandarin, that means I want you to use your head rather than your hands, right? And this is something that I remember until today, even though I'm like 37 years old right now. And yeah, I wanted to make my parents proud by doing what my parents taught me. Like, in order to be successful, I needed to get good grades in school, get good scores on my SATs, and then go to college and just get a nice job. And that's exactly what I did. I went to school, I went to college, I got my teaching degree in California. I also got my master's degree in education, and I became a teacher for 7+ years. And even I was also a tutor too, if you guys watch my videos. And I was like, "Mom, Dad, look at me. I became a teacher. I'm in an air-conditioned room. I get to wear a shirt and tie. Are you guys proud of me?" And it was then where, I don't know, when I started working, I started to notice that, getting this paycheck and saving my money every month, it isn't enough. I don't know if you guys ever did the math for yourselves too. Like, you got a calculator and you put in the numbers. You're like, "Oh, how much do I need to save to retire comfortably?" And I taught math, right, as a public school teacher. And I said, there is absolutely no way for me to save my money in just some sort of regular checking or savings accounts and become wealthy. And I thought I was doing pretty well as, an adult. I was a responsible adult. I was investing in my 403b, which is very similar to a 401k. If you have a 401k, maybe you can type in 401k. Or if you have a 403b right now, you can type that in if you're an educator too. And I was working more than 10+ hour days. A lot of you guys know that as a teacher, the day doesn't begin when the bell rings, or it doesn't end when the bell rings. I usually have to go in early as a teacher to prepare my lesson plans. I have to go to parent, staff, teacher conferences. There's a lot of stuff that I have to do. Go to the copy room and make copies of worksheets and quizzes and everything. And after every working day, I was like super stressed, super tired, right? And just like what my parents taught me, because of course I grew up in an Asian family, my parents taught me to save my money, and that's what I did. I lived very frugally and below my means, and I was depositing my money in a regular savings account. But after a while, I did the calculations and I was like, man, there is no way I can ever save myself to wealth. And I was really sad. I then went on Google to see, how is it that all these people on the internet were so wealthy? Like, I see people with, I don't know, they were able to become financially free. And this is when I discovered this community called the FIRE community. How many of you guys have heard of the FIRE community? Maybe you can type in FIRE in the comments, or even if you know what the acronym stands for, you can type it in. But if you don't, FIRE just stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. And basically, there's this group of people all over the world, right? There's many individuals all over the world. They were able to become financially free before the age of 65 years old. A lot of them became financially free at 55, 50, 45, even some in their 30s too. And I was thinking, how is it that these people did it? Like, what were their strategies? And I found out that they all did these two things. Are you ready? It's not clickbaity or anything like that. It's really just these two things. One, we all have to learn how to live below our means. Okay, we have to learn how to live frugally. And number two, we have to invest our money. These are the two rules that everyone needs to follow. Okay, guys. And really, all of these people in the FIRE community, you know what they invested in? In the stock market. In the stock market. And I'm going to share with you today how powerful the stock market is. So after I learned about the stock market and this whole FIRE community, I said to myself, okay, I'm going to learn about it. I'm going to start investing. So what I did was I continued to live below my means. I started to tutor after school. I tutored every day after school, right, for 2-3 hours every day. And then I also invested and traded in the stock market little by little. Deposit a little bit of money into my Roth IRA, into my taxable brokerage account, and I was eventually able to grow my net worth to $1 million. So I have a question for all of you here today. What does financial freedom mean to you? Go ahead and think about it, marinate on it. But typically when I send this poll out on Instagram or YouTube, these are the 3 top answers that I typically get. 1, Steve, I want to spend more time with my friends and family. Or sometimes people will say financial freedom is where I get to pursue my passions, because maybe some people, their job is not necessarily their passion. And number 3, a lot of people will say financial freedom means that they're able to travel the world. So go ahead and type in the comments, what does financial freedom mean to you? And I'm going to read some of your comments right now. Thanks everyone for answering some of your guys' own questions. Someone's like, what does FIRE stand for again? It's financial independence, retire early. Awesome. I see Anthony says to retire comfortably. Maya Smith says to have peace. Tamara says to travel the world. Jay says to travel. And Press says to have independence. Kay Riva says to have FU money. Joel says to not work for money. Mel Tonek says to have all 3 and have no financial stress. Carly says to be debt-free. Joey says to have more time with family and friends. Edwin says to do whatever I want. I like that. Margarita says to not have an 8-to-5 job. Some people are saying to have more security, family time, to retire my parents, to take care of my parents. I love these answers. Nastarin says to have peace for family. Okay, awesome. Peace of mind to retire rich. I love all of these answers. And really, there's no one right answer. All of these are correct, right? And essentially, what I believe is at the end of it all, financial freedom is to have the freedom to not have to work, right? To become work optional. If you want to work, you can. If you don't want to work, that's totally okay too. But we just don't want to have to stress about money. So here's the thing, folks. A lot of times when I share this with people and the importance of being money conscious, budgeting, investing, I get a lot of pushback. A lot of people will say, investing is not for me. I don't need to do it right now, right? Maybe I can do it in the next 10 years or 20 years. I'll do it later because I have a good job right now and this is going to sustain me for my entire life. However, a lot of times I will share with them these statistics that you see here. This is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and they said that back in 2020, 10.6 million people 65 years and older were still in the workforce. Not because they wanted to work, but it's because they had to work. They had no choice because not a lot of them, or actually a lot of them did not have any retirement savings at all, right? If you take a look at these articles here from CNBC, it says that 40% of the American middle class face poverty in retirement. MarketWatch had an article that said that half of Americans over 55 may retire poor. And from Yahoo Finance, Social Security checks are around $1,700, $1,800 a month. However, is this really enough? I don't know. For people who live in coastal areas like myself, California, New York, $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 checks is not going to cut it, especially with inflation rising so fast right now. And if you take a look at this graph, this is kind of like the big gap, the big wealth gap that we see, right, between all these wealthy people and these middle class income earners. If you take a look at many people who don't invest, a lot of times they will put their money into regular checking or regular savings accounts. So you'll see that their net worth doesn't really rise as much over time. However, for people who learn how to invest, who learn the importance of compound interest, which we'll talk about later, you can see that their wealth exponentially grows over time. And that's why there's this huge gap right here, this huge wealth gap. And my goal is for all of us here today to learn about investing, to not be scared about investing. So this way we can close that wealth gap just a little bit, okay? So what typically happens when people don't invest? And it really comes down to these three things. Number one, people are going to have to downsize their lifestyle. Instead of being able to go out to eat a lot, by the time they're 60, 65 years old, they probably can't anymore. Or maybe they have to downsize to a smaller home, or they can't go on these vacations that they've always wanted to go to because they don't have money saved up. Number two, a lot of times people will have to ask for family for financial support. Myself, I know a lot of friends and other family members who are taking care of their parents and sometimes even their parents' parents, their grandparents too. And I don't know about you, but when I'm 60, 65 years old, I don't want my kids taking care of me. Instead, I want to be taking care of them, like giving them money instead and giving money to my grandkids instead. And number three, a lot of times, just like what I said, people have to go back to work at the age of 65 years old, not because they want to, but because they have to, because they never had anything saved up. So my thing is, I really hope everyone in here, we're going to learn how to invest. And by the time we get to retirement, we're going to have all of these oak trees, right? We're going to plant our acorns down. So we have all of these oak trees, all of these acorns, and we're able to enjoy life. We're able to thrive rather than survive. So Steve, why is it that people don't want to invest? Well, it's because people fear what they don't understand. This is a famous quote by Andrew Smith. So what can we do? That's right, we can learn about investing. We have to use knowledge as our weapon because once we learn about this, I promise you, money does not become scary at all anymore. All right, so if you're kind of like, oh, this is very interesting. Maybe you can give me a little bit of feedback because I am just staring at a camera right now. Maybe you can type in a number 1 if you are learning something right now. And if you have a notebook or another laptop, tablet, give yourselves a pat on the back because you're being very proactive right now with taking notes. Because right now I'm going to share with you 3 secrets to investing that I believe everyone should know. Awesome. I see a couple of you are typing in 1. Artist says 1. I see Daisy says 1. Nick says 1. Jenny says 1. CJ says 1. Everything Americans and Anthony and Myron Via says 1. Elizabeth and Kay Salazar says 1. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Mary B and Mohammed and Kareen. Awesome. All right. So here is secret number 1. Investing and trading can be passive. I think a lot of times when people think about investing and trading, they think, oh, I need to sit in front of all of these computer monitors and I need to click on my keyboard and click on my mouse. And that's how I become a good investor. But I'm here to tell you that that's not true at all. You can invest as easily with just a couple minutes on your phone, your tablet, on your laptop. You can open up a brokerage with so many great brokerages nowadays, right? We're in 2024. The first thing that everyone needs to do is to choose a reliable brokerage. So here are my favorite ones if you want to write this down. I really like Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard, and E-Trade. These are all great brokerages. For me personally, I use Fidelity and Schwab, but you don't have to use it just because I use it. You can use whatever you like. I have a lot of friends and family members that use Vanguard and E-Trade, and they love their customer service. They love their platforms too, all right? Now, once you choose a brokerage, the next step is you want to open up an account. So the next question that I typically get from people is, Steve, what accounts do beginners start with? And these are the 2 accounts. First is a Roth IRA. Second is an individual cash account or individual taxable brokerage account. There are so many names to this, but you want to start with a Roth IRA if you're in the United States. If you're in Canada, you can look up the TFSA, or if you're in another country, which you can still invest, make sure that you have a brokerage like maybe Interactive Brokers that allows you to invest in US stocks, okay? So these are the two accounts I like. And here's why I like the Roth IRA, because as you invest in this Roth IRA, you compound your money. You are very disciplined with investing. By the time you are maybe 67 years old and you become a millionaire, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I'm going to do the math with you in a little bit. All of that money, by the time you're 59 and a half, all of that money is tax and penalty free. Super cool. A lot of times you hear about wealthy people and how they're able to lower their taxes. And by opening up a Roth IRA and investing in it, this is one of the easiest wealth hacks that many people do. Okay, many people take. It's by investing in this specific account. All right, so here's the next step, step number 3. Once you have this account open, a Roth IRA, then you're going to put money inside and you're going to invest in something. You have to buy assets. And for me, typically for beginners, you don't want to start investing in these random stocks, penny stocks or meme stocks, right? As a beginner, it's good to be diversified. So instead of choosing an individual company, you can choose an ETF or some sort of fund that tracks the S&P 500. You probably have heard of this term before, S&P 500. Like, what does that mean? All it means is Standards and Poor's, and 500 stands for the top 500 companies in the United States. That's it. That's really it. Not so scary anymore, right? So what are these top 500 companies in the United States? Well, they include Facebook Meta, Walmart, Target, Amazon.com, Alphabet, Google, Apple, Microsoft. All of these companies that most likely you're probably using right now in your hand, on your desk. If you look outside the window, you probably see a brand or a company out there right now at this moment, okay? I promise you. And all of these companies are kind of like the top performing companies that have proven over time that they're able to generate revenue, that they're good companies actually making money. And I know that a lot of times when we go to the grocery store, we get overwhelmed with which cereal box do we buy? Which milk should we buy? There's just so many different options. Should I buy the cereal that's Fruity Pebbles, or the one that's chocolate, or the one that has peanut butter flavoring, or the organic one? It gets very overwhelming. So what you can do instead is you can buy like all of them at once. So by doing that, by investing, you can invest in an ETF where you can buy all of the top 500 companies all at once when you just buy one share. Very cool. It's kind of like a big basket of stocks. This is why I love ETFs so much. And this is why I talk about ETFs all the time in my little videos. So if I were to show you a graph for those of you who are visual learners of how the S&P 500 has performed as a whole over the last several years, you can see that, yeah, like we've been trending upwards. Like we are around an all-time high again, right? Even with all the things that have happened in history, all the wars, the conflicts, the geopolitical events, inflation, COVID, whatever it is, yes, we've had all of these roller coaster rides, but what always happens is the S&P 500 loves to rise more than it falls. And on average, the S&P 500 has an average annual return of 7 to 10%. Pretty cool. But here's the thing, a lot of beginner investors, they get very scared with the stock market in the short term because they only look at what has happened today or the last week or the last month. And they go, oh, Steve, this is crazy. Like the stock market went sideways and it dropped down and went up and it dropped down and went sideways. It's a huge roller coaster ride. So my thing is, hey, when you are a beginner investor, it's okay. Be calm. Take a step back and look at that long-term perspective. We always want to invest with that long-term view because yes, if we zoom in, it's scary, but if we zoom out, it's not so scary anymore. And this is how all wealthy people do it. They invest very patiently and they're very disciplined with doing this by using the dollar cost averaging method, right? They just buy a couple of shares every month, regardless of where the stock market is. And this is how all these millionaires are made. And I don't know if you guys know the statistics, but more than 86% of millionaires right now, they're all self-made. Not because of inheritance, not because their parents gave them money. It's all because of them investing, okay? All right. And if you take a look at this chart right here, you can see that every time we have some sort of recession or bottom or crash, which is denoted in this red X, we've always rose up, right? We've always risen up. We hit a little red X here, we always go back up. We hit an X, we went back up. We hit an X, we always went back up, all right? So invest and be calm. Now, I know a lot of you will think, oh, Steve, with investing in the S&P 500, everything rises? Sure. Like, does that mean that all stocks rise? The answer is no. No, they don't. So there are a lot of channels out there. I'm not going to say who or what, but sometimes they will promote these risky assets, maybe some cryptocurrencies, maybe some meme stocks. Okay. All right, folks. We want to be serious here. We want to make sure that we invest responsibly. We want to invest in companies that are actually making money, which is the S&P 500, right? This is what all the large hedge fund managers, all these banks and institutions, they invest in. We don't want to invest in these gambling stocks here like GME or AMC or Nokia, because this is really the quickest way to lose money. And I don't want you guys to lose your money because you guys worked hard for it, right? So invest responsibly. All right, so hopefully you guys are getting a lot of value from this. If you are, go ahead and type in the number 1 so you can give me a little bit of feedback. So here is the next natural question that I usually get. Steve, how do you make income with the stock market? Well, for me, I think the best way to make income comes from these 2 different venues. 1, through selling covered calls, and 2, collecting dividends. And this is something that a lot of retail investors do. They build a portfolio called a dividend portfolio. I don't know if you guys have heard of this before, but essentially they buy all of these assets, and for every share that they buy, that they invest in, it'll pay them a couple of cents or a couple of dollars every quarter. Very cool stuff. Now, yes, just by owning 5 shares, it's probably not a lot of money. You'll probably get like $3 or $5 in dividends. But if you were to have 100 shares or 1,000 shares or 10,000 shares, which I know it sounds ridiculous, but later I'm going to show you how it's totally possible. You're going to be collecting all this income, all these dividends every single quarter or every single month, depending on what it is that you invest in. And this is something that even Warren Buffett does, which is a famous investor. He doesn't work. He basically just collects dividends from his massive portfolio. And not only that, he also sells these contracts, kind of like covered calls, but they're called cash secured puts. It's kind of the opposite of covered calls, which I'll talk about later. And this is where when you have a lot of shares, you can sell these rights to other people to collect even more money while collecting dividends and while letting your assets appreciate over time. Very cool stuff. So just to kind of give you a quick screenshot of some of the dividends that I've collected over the past several months here and some of the cover call income that I've collected too. And this is something that my students and I, we like to do. This is how we generate passive income, just by becoming investors, just by holding onto these shares and letting our money work for us. This is from one of my students, Frida. She said, I wish we heard about Call to Leap a lot sooner. Financial freedom is absolutely possible, and we're now able to help others with the extra funds we earn from options trading or selling covered calls. Thank you, Steve and his team, for sharing their valuable knowledge. Thank you so much, Frida. All right, so if you're taking notes, here is secret number 2. Hopefully everyone's learning a lot right now. If you are, maybe you can type in the number 2. I see a lot of people are typing in 1 right now from the previous question. Jose, Mary say 1, Elizabeth, and Sean Saya says 1, Inspire +3 says 1, Tracy, Edwin Cruz, and Peachy Garcia. Awesome. Us After Work says 1. Okay. All right, so here is secret number 2. You actually don't need a lot of money to invest. What you really need is time. So this is going to blow your mind right now, all right? Check this out. We're going to talk a little bit of math. Don't be scared. Typically, a lot of people will ask me, Steve, I want to become a millionaire. How long does it take for me to become a millionaire if I were to start investing? Now, I just want to say up front, not everyone needs to become a millionaire. Not everyone needs to retire with $1 million. Depends on your living situations. Maybe you just need $500,000 or $300,000, right? So let's just entertain this question. How long does it take to become a millionaire? And we're going to assume that we want to retire at the age of 70. We're investing in the S&P 500 that gives around 10% annual returns. Sure. If you start investing at the age of 20, all you really need to contribute and invest is $75 a month. If you wait 10 years later and you say, you know what, I'll do it later, it's not that big of a deal. You wait until you're 30, that increases to $200 a month. If you wait even longer, that becomes, until you're 40 years old, that's $500 a month. If you wait until you're 50, that's $1,500 a month. And if you wait until you're 60, you have to contribute and invest $5,300 a month to become a millionaire at the age of 70 years old. What's the takeaway message here? We need to make sure that we invest as early and often as possible, because the longer we wait, the more catch up we need to play. All right, folks? And I don't mean to be negative about this. I'm trying to be as real as possible. There are people who have DM'd me, messaged me, emailed me, who are 68, 69 years old, and they say, Steve, I'm working right now. I don't have anything saved up for my retirement, nothing in my checking or savings accounts, and I want to retire next year or next year in 2 years. How do I become a millionaire in 2 years? What I say is, most likely you can't. You can't. Because you're going to have to invest so much money, right? I don't know, in 12 months, in 24 months to become a millionaire. And that is, the probability of that happening is very, very low. Okay, I don't mean to be negative or anything, but this is why it's so important to start investing right now. Okay, all right. But just because you're in your 40s or 50s doesn't mean that you can't invest. No, absolutely, you can still invest. As long as you have a 10-year, 15-year time horizon to invest, you should absolutely invest. Absolutely, okay? And I'm going to talk about how to do this in just a little bit. Now, Steve, can I still invest even if I have debt or not a lot of money? Absolutely, you can. And here is why. Let's take a look at my two friends here, Derek and Ali. And let's say they both have $1,000 a month. And Derek, he decides to save his money in a regular savings account with maybe Chase or Wells Fargo, Bank of America. Interest rates are super low, like non-existent. Well, in 40 years, yeah, it's kind of nice. He's going to have around $480,000, almost $500,000. However, if you take a look at Ali, she invested her money every month into the S&P 500, giving average annual returns. In 40 years, she's going to have around $5.3 million. Let that sink in a little bit, 5.3. She basically has more than 10 times the amount Derek has. Why? Because instead of saving her money, she invested her money, right? She learned the importance of letting her money work for her. Now, I know some of you might be saying, Steve, this is kind of too much for me. I don't have $1,000 to invest a month, and it's okay. We can start off small, baby steps, right? And then we can work ourselves up. Let's say that we are able to invest $100 a month. How many of you guys are comfortable investing $100 a month? Maybe you can type in the number 100 in the comments. Well, if Ali were to invest $100 a month over the next 40 years, her portfolio would be around $530,000 with average returns. But wait, it gets even better than this, because if you really look at the numbers, she basically invested only $48,000 of her own money. The extra growth that she got was $482,000 of free money due to compound interest. Free money. Whew. See, folks, this is why it's so important to invest. I know a lot of us, we were taught at an early age that we just have to work and just save our money, and that's how we become financially successful. We work for our money. But I really hope that I instill this message into you, that instead of just working for our money, we need to transition this and shift our mindset into thinking, how do we let our money work for us? And investing is the answer. We have to invest, okay? This is from one of my students. This is from George. He says, I really appreciate Steve breaking everything down. I feel more comfortable trading options or selling covered calls and having another income stream that will allow me to get closer to financial freedom. Thank you, George. And this is from my other students. Bad Rat says, Steve, you are such a great teacher. I love how informative you are. Steven says, Steve, I make consistent money because of you. Steph says, I finally understand options. And D. Rosales says, thanks, the courses are great. I highly recommend them to everyone. Thanks so much, guys. So here is secret number 3 if you're taking notes, so you can write this down. The short-term goal for everyone is really, for most people, is to make $100,000, to save $100,000, okay? This is typically, for most people, their short-term goal to hit. Because once you hit $100,000, that's where the magic really begins. And I'm going to talk about compound interest right now, so this is going to blow your mind. So just to kind of be transparent with all of you, this is my accounts from actually a couple of months ago. Right now it's a little bit higher than this. What's way higher than this now because the stock market has been rising again. So I have money in my taxable brokerage, in my retirement accounts. I have money in my checking, in my high yield savings account, which everyone should have by now if you have been watching my videos because interest rates are so high. It's free money every month, right? Now, I'm sharing this with you all because, again, I come from a public school teaching background. And if I can do it, like I'm pretty sure you guys can do it too, but it really comes down to the habits that you develop right now. So let's talk about why 100K is such an important number. Because once you have your first $100,000 saved up, it's invested, cool. Let's assume that you're contributing $1,000 a month, depositing, investing into the stock market, getting average stock market returns. If you're very consistent and disciplined with doing this, guess what? You'll make your next $100,000 in the next 4 years. In the next 3 years, you'll get your next $100,000 just like that, right? You'll get your third $100,000 in 2 years, and you'll get your fourth $100,000 1 year after that. And pretty much every year afterwards, you'll be growing your net worth around $100,000 every year. How does this make sense? How does this even work? Let's think about this. It's because of compound interest. Compound interest, because let's think about this, okay? Once you grow your account to $1 million and we get an average return of 10% from the stock market, what's 10% of $1 million? Go ahead and type it into the comments. Let's see if you remember your 6th grade, 7th grade public school math. What's 10% of $1 million? Yeah, that's right. $100,000. Yeah, a lot of you, oh, wow, I'm so proud of you all. You guys are so good. It's $100,000, right? This means that every year afterwards, your net worth grows $100,000. Is it because we went out to work? Absolutely not. It's because our investments are working for us. And this is really how the rich become richer, right? It makes sense. Now, this is where it gets even better. Because if you really think about it, once you grow your next $100,000, you add that back into your $1 million portfolio. Now, you don't have $1 million anymore. You now have $1.1 million. So when you find 10% of that, the following year, you're not going to grow your account by another $100,000. You now grow your account by $110,000. And then you add that back in, and then the next year you'll grow your account by another $121,000. Add that back in, your net worth then grows another $130,000 something dollars. Isn't that crazy? You're basically giving yourself a pay raise by doing nothing. This is how wealth works, folks. Okay, we want to make sure that we grow our wealth not linearly, like in a straight line, but in an exponential curve. This is how real wealth is created. This is from Steven. He says, Call to Leap helped me find an option strategy that actually works. I learned how to be successful with investing and options trading or selling covered calls and spreads, and how to actually grow my accounts responsibly. Thank you, Steven. And this is from one of my favorite students, Moga. She says, thanks to Call to Leap, I now sell covered calls and collect premiums every month. My portfolio has grown to almost $28,000 in 6 months through compound interest and by contributing money inside. I am now on my way to financial freedom and working towards breaking the cycle of debt in my family. And this is I really love this message from Moga, because here's the thing, folks. I know that a lot of us, we may not have learned about money growing up. We might have saw our parents, our aunt, our uncles, our grandparents struggle with money, with paying off credit card debts, with getting food, placing food on our tables, right? And we think, oh, like we are probably going to continue this cycle into our adulthood. But I'm here to tell you that it only takes one person, just one person, to break the cycle of financial illiteracy, just one person. And that person is you. I really believe this from the bottom of my heart. You guys are here with an open and positive mindset, learning about something scary, about money, right? It's like such a taboo. And you're here learning about it and how investing really works, because it really just takes one person in a family to change the entire trajectory of their family's lives. Because yes, once you learn about this, you start investing, not only are you able to give money to your kids and your kids' kids, which is called generational wealth, you'll be able to pass down generational knowledge. You'll be able to teach them how to invest. Because let's be real here. How many of us wish that our parents taught us about investing, taught us about money? I sure did, right? My parents taught me about saving, but not about investing. So this is a very, very powerful thing. And you guys should be very proud of yourselves for being here and learning about all of this stuff. So here is my question to all of you. Do you guys want my help? Because I know a lot of you ask me, Steve, how do you invest with the strategic plan to get to financial freedom? Let me know in the comments. If you do, you can type in the number or the word yes. If you guys have learned a lot so far, maybe you can type in the number 1 and give me some feedback too. Awesome. I see Christina says me. Sergio says yes. Marcelo says, I wish they did teach me. Diana says yes. Nick says, I learned about saving too. Joey says yes. Fee says yes. Awesome. Very cool. I see a lot of ones too. Mark says, love what you just said, breaking the cycle. Absolutely. Oh, I'm so glad that you guys are learning so much. A lot of you are typing in the number 1. Very cool. So I'm here to share with you all that I am opening up my stock market membership for those of you who are interested in joining. These are some of the comments from my previous students. Eugene says, shout out to Steve. Thanks for making difficult concepts easy to understand and for your coaching the past few months. Another student of mine said, ditto Steve, I just started off monthly and after a couple months committed to the year. It's worth it and you'll make money to pay for the membership in a brief time. Jess says, I just started with the program about a month and a half ago and oh my gosh, it's the best thing I ever did. And Mosquito88 says, I've been a monthly premium member. Last year I generated $30,000 in premiums. I highly recommend it. And yeah, with selling covered calls, collecting dividends, it's real money, folks. Just like the interest that you collect from your high yield savings, right? Money comes in month after month or quarter after quarter. So what is this? Well, basically, my membership is broken down into 3 different parts. It's a self-paced video class where you can watch my entire library of videos about the stock market. It's a Q&A coaching where you get to ask me and all my coaches questions, all my moderators questions, and you get to see my weekly investments and trades, see what I'm actually investing in my portfolio. So this is for you if you're someone who wants to grow your money passively and finally let it work for you. This is for you if you want to spend more time with your friends and family members, or maybe you want to pursue something that you're truly passionate about, or maybe you want to build wealth to buy a house later on. This is something that a lot of wealthy people do. They'll invest in the stock market into S&P 500 funds, and when they want to buy a home later, they'll sell some of their assets and then use that money as a down payment. This is for you if you want to generate passive income to pay for your vacations. This is something that a lot of my students do. They sell covered calls, collect a couple $100s from their contracts and use that for their family vacations. This is for you if you want to not only build generational wealth, but also build generational knowledge. So this way you can pass this down to your kids, right? Just like what we talked about. Now, I'm really serious about this, and you're going to really see if this is for you or not. This is not for you if you're looking for a get-rich-quick scheme. Remember, with investing, we are long-term investors here. We are responsible investors. We're not trying to do something where we're going to become a millionaire within a week or 2 weeks or anything like that, right? We're developing these positive wealth habits so that we can become wealthy. This is not for you if you want to trade cryptocurrencies, penny stocks, Forex, or even do day trading. This is high risk gambling. I do not like to do any of this here, okay? I like to be more on the passive side where we just collect dividends from our assets, right? Just like collecting interest from your high yield savings, or we sell these contracts. It takes like 5, 10, 15 minutes a week, and we collect this money, a couple $100s, couple $1,000s, depending on how big your portfolio size is. This is not for you if you are in serious credit card debt or if you don't have consistent income. Pay it off first, especially if you have super high credit card interest fees, okay? If they're pretty low, then sure, but if you're in serious debt, this is not for you. And if you're someone who has to take care of your family, your kids, your wife, your husband, your parents even, then yeah, like if you're struggling with money right now, this is not going to be for you. You need to make sure that you're responsible and financially stable yourselves. Now, what's inside? Well, you get access to 30 plus videos that teach you how to get started with investing for the long term and generate monthly income. And because I am a teacher, I am going to be providing multiple quizzes for you to make sure that you understand each concept before you move on to the next video. And of course, I have a 30 plus FAQ board, where I consolidate all the top questions from all of my students and put it onto this board, because I know that coming from a public school teaching background, a lot of introverted students like myself when I was in school, I didn't want to ask questions. I kind of wanted to have other people ask questions and just see what the responses are. So that's what I did for all my introvert learners out there, all right? And this right here is a $6,000 value. Now, if I were to break this down even more, it's broken down into 3 different levels. Level 1 is for investing and the wheel strategies. This is where I teach how to invest for the long term and use a wheel strategy or selling cover calls and cash secure puts to generate that monthly income. Level 2, this is where it gets a little bit more fun, especially in a bull market like the one that we're in now, where we start to invest in leaps or long-term equities, anticipation securities. And this is where we can magnify our portfolio using a little bit of leverage. And in level 3, we talk about spreads. This is where I teach how to generate income even when the stock market isn't going up. Because I know a lot of people, they think in order to make money in the stock market has to go up, but that's completely false. Even if the stock market trends sideways or downwards, there are a lot of strategies that I teach where you can still generate money, generate premiums. Now, if you guys were to join today, I am going to be offering everyone in this room right now a couple of bonuses. The first bonus is you get access to my entire Discord community where you get to talk to all of my members, get access to the private channels and my moderators to ask them questions because we're here to support you. Bonus number 2, you get access to my stock market simulator where you can practice selling cover calls. Bonus number 3, you get access to all of my archived videos and my blogs to see all the things that I've invested in over the past 12 months to see, like how my portfolio has done, right? And if you sign up today, I am going to be opening up or letting you join our wealth building coaching call for July too. So this way we can help you get started. We can talk with our coaches, with me, with everyone to see how we can get started with investing. And I'm also going to be sending out 3 bonus emails to all of you to keep you all accountable with opening up your brokerage accounts and depositing your money and making your first investment. And this is really the only place I share my strategies with everyone. So this is it if you guys want to join. This is from Andy. He says, love the content, went through the courses, and now can confidently say I have a fantastic grasp on wheels, leaps, and bear call spreads. Thank you for the education. Jake says, I love bear call spreads and cover calls. I can't believe I didn't learn about this sooner. I totally understand how there are so many people who can make so much money in the stock market, no matter what the direction is. Thank you for teaching this in such an easy way to me and the rest of the community, Steve. Thank you so much, Jake. So what is inside? Well, it's broken down into level 1 to 3 video classes, which is a $1,000 value. My quizzes, which is a $500 value. My coaching and FAQ board, which is a $2,000 value. And my weekly positions, a $2,500 value. And bonus number 1, you get access to me and my team for 12 months. Ask me all of your questions, okay? Ask all of my community members your questions too. We are a really positive community. We always love to help each other out, right? We have the same mindset, very similar strategies with this long-term investing mindset. Bonus number 2, you get access to my stock market simulator. Bonus number 3, you get access to all of my archived content to see what I've invested in over the past 12 months. And you get access to my coaching call for July. And I do want to say that once you sign on to Discord, you join the community, be careful with a lot of scammers. There are a whole bunch of them on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's kind of annoying, but just to have you guys stay safe, these are my handles. This is my name. It's Steve CTL, my coach, Ben, a lot of other people. You need to make sure that the roles say call to lead team, community manager, and it's not something like this with a period, Steve, CTLL, or anything like that, okay? So please make sure that the roles are tagged properly. And for everyone in this room right now, I am going to offer all of you guys in here a discount. It's going to be a 4th of July discount, and it's only going to be a 2-day sale. It will end on 4th of July. And this whole entire membership, it has a value of $6,000. Regularly, I have this for $1,997, but there is a 50% off discount right now, and I am only opening this up for the first 50 seats or the next 48 hours, whatever comes first. So if you guys are saying, hey, I want to get started with investing this summer, this was my goal for a couple of months, a couple of years, then this is your calling to you, okay? If you want to join, you can go to calltoleap.com to join. And in order to get the secret discount, you have to follow these 3 steps, okay? Because I made it kind of secret, so not everyone can get it. You can go to calltoleap.com, and when you go there, you're going to sign in with Google on the top right-hand corner. Once you sign in, right, you click on the check marks, then you click on this little pricing button on the menu bar, and then that's where you get the access to the discount code, okay? So this is only for everyone in this room right now by following these 3 steps. And I'm going to open it up to Q&A questions right now. So if you had a question for today, you can drop it in the comments, or actually I'm going to answer some of the questions that you asked me yesterday when I sent out an email, because it all got gathered in my email question buckets, okay? So let me see here. All right. Oh, okay. So I see a couple of you guys already signed up. I think 4 people already signed up. Welcome to the membership. Yeah, for those of you who just joined, congratulations. I highly encourage everyone to go to the dashboard and then join the Discord, okay? I'm going to unlock you in there either today or tomorrow. My coach will do that for you too. And watch the intro level videos. That's where you're going to get a lot of information. I'm also going to be sending you the emails day by day, so just wait for them, okay? And then follow the instructions on how to open up a brokerage account. So congratulations to the 4 of you who just joined right now. All right. Okay, so let's answer some of your questions. This is from Jake. Jake says, can I lock in the discounts? Will it go up for me next year? No, this is a membership program, so it renews every year. You can cancel anytime you want, but once you're locked in with the discount, I won't increase the price on you. It will always be like that. It's not like Netflix or Hulu or anything like that. And Jared says, which ETF is your favorite? I have SPY and VOO. Yes, I do like these 2 ETFs because they track the S&P 500. However, I would not have SPY and VOO. I would only buy one of them and just add on to that because it is a little bit redundant. They both do the same thing. So you can choose all SPY or all VOO, all right? If you are someone who wants to sell cover calls to collect income, I would go for SPY. If you are someone who just wants to invest in the S&P 500 for the long term, you can go for VOO. Great questions. Addie, I don't know if I said your name right, says, I max out my Roth IRA. What do I do next? Well, there are other accounts that you can look into. Just like what I said, you can look into a TBA or a taxable brokerage account or an individual brokerage account. All right. Larry says, do I just invest $500 once? Now, Larry, remember that with investing, it's a habit that we want to develop, right? It's like going to the gym. I know that once we get our six-pack abs, we don't just stop going to the gym because it's a lifelong journey. We want to keep going to the gym. We want to keep eating healthy. And it's the same thing with investing. We want to keep investing. $500 a month, $700 a month. Like for myself, I'm still investing on a monthly basis, right? A lot of my members, they have $500,000 already, maybe $250,000. Some of them are very close to their $1 million goal, and they're still investing because, again, this is a lifelong journey. Jenny says, my husband and I invested for many years and have $1 million. Oh, congratulations, Jenny. That's awesome. How do we take out our investments? Okay, so this is a great question. If you are nearing your retirement age and you want to take out your money, especially if you have it in a Roth IRA, you actually don't need to sell everything all at once because Roth IRAs don't have RMDs or required minimum distributions. So there are three things you can do if you're taking notes, Jenny. One, you can just collect dividends, or you'll probably collect maybe $14,000, $15,000, $16,000 a year, depending on what it is that you're investing in. If you're investing only in S&P 500 funds. If you're investing in dividend-paying ETFs, it's probably most likely going to be higher. Two, you can sell a portion of your portfolio or use a 4% rule and sell 3 or 4% of your portfolio every year. And that's how you get your income, right? $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Or you can sell covered calls because you already have so many shares. You can use your shares as collateral, which is what I talk about in my membership. And you sell these contracts to other people and collect a couple $1,000s each month. Great question. Seth, can you explain more about dividends and covered calls? Yes. So again, dividends, you just collect money every quarter or so. As long as you hold on to the shares before the ex-dividend date, you'll be paid money with, during the next dividend payout date. And with covered calls, you're just selling these contracts over and over again. And I talk about my strategy within the membership. Carrie Phillip Allison says, can I invest outside the US? Yes, absolutely. As long as you have a brokerage account that allows you to invest in US stocks, options, then you can invest. So a brokerage that a lot of my members use is Interactive Brokers. So you can look into that, okay? All right. And if you are someone who has a question right now, I am going to look at the comments. I do like questions that are a little bit more complete. You use full sentences. Again, it's just the teacher in me. I like those questions a little bit better, all right? Well-composed questions. And, oh, awesome. I see that there are 9 of you just signed up. Very cool. Congratulations. Let me see who just signed up. I see Clarita just signed up, Brian, Lupita, Missy, Janelle, Alan, Andrea, and Edith, and Alex and Rachel. Oh, congratulations. Yeah. Very cool. For those of you who just joined up right now or joined right now, I would say go to the dashboard, sign up on Discord, and then watch the intro level videos and level 1 videos and take the quizzes. You can take the quizzes as many times as you want. I do hope that you get 100% on all the quizzes, okay? Because again, you can take them infinite times. And watch out for my emails because I am going to have you guys get started with opening up your first brokerage account. I am also going to be sending out an email next week where I'll give you an invite to the next coaching call so you can talk to me and the other coaches and other students, okay? All right. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at some of your questions right now. Evelyn says, what books do you read for investing? Great question. I really like Secrets of a Millionaire Mind, which talks about just money in general, rewiring our money beliefs. I also like Unshakable by Tony Robbins. I like The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. These are all great books, okay, that talk about just investing in some sort of fund that tracks the S&P 500. Great question. Jose Alvarado says, what do you think about Robinhood? Great question. So with Robinhood, I do love the user interface. It's very easy to use. I've used it before. However, with the way they route your trades and customer support, it's not really the best. I know they say, well, all trades are free of fees. However, sometimes with them routing your trades, a lot of times you might pay a higher fee instead, right? So just something to keep in mind. And also with their customer service, I don't know. I prefer to have my money, my $1 million, in a larger brokerage like Fidelity or Schwab. I just feel safer with them because they've been around for a long time, and their customer support is very, very good. I mean, I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. Like, I really mean it. Fidelity, Schwab, amazing customer support. I always call them and they always pick up in like 3, 4, 5 minutes, and the representatives are always very knowledgeable. Great questions. Anna says, hello, Steve. Is it better to invest in QQQ or QQQM? Yeah, this is a great question. They pretty much do the same thing. M is a little bit on the less expensive side, but they track the NASDAQ 100 or the top technology companies in the United States. So I like QQQ too. It is a little bit more on the volatile side, so just be a little bit mindful of that. Great question. Vika says, how do you buy low-cost S&P 500? Just like what I said, you can buy ETFs or exchange-traded funds like SPY, VOO, FXAIX, IVV. These are all funds that track the S&P 500, so when you buy one share, you're buying all the top 500 companies in the United States. And these are typically all low cost with low expense ratios. Great question. All right. Okay, I see we have around 35 seats left. Awesome. Yeah, I might close the registration earlier today. And for the people who just signed up, welcome. I see Clarita just signed up and Brian just signed up. Awesome. I also see Tim just signed up too. Very cool. Awesome. Cool. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm going to... Angela just signed up, and Glenda and Jose and Ari and Carla and John and Laura just signed up also. And Dennis and Junior and Stephanie, Leslie, Francesca, Rochelli. Sorry if I said your name wrong. Rochelli. And Shannon and Rajveer just signed up. Awesome. Very cool. Okay, so we have a couple of seats left if you guys want to join. Great questions, everyone. Just keep them coming. Let me see. Pino Lero Box says, how do I buy shares in my Roth IRA? That's a great question. So what you can do is when you open up your brokerage, you deposit money inside. When you go onto the dashboard, there should be some sort of magnifying glass. When you click on it, you can type in this thing called the ticker symbol. So the ticker symbol is kind of like a nickname for these funds or companies. So for example, Microsoft is MSFT, or Apple is AAPL. Visa is V. Home Depot is HD. And you can look up all these ticker symbols on Wikipedia, on Google, or if you just want to invest in an S&P 500 fund, you can type in SPY, VOO, IVV, or FXAIX. Okay, these are all funds that track the S&P 500. Great question. Leisa says, what is a covered call? Great question. So this is what a covered call is. When you have 100 shares, okay, you're going to build up to 100 shares, or you can buy 100 shares outright. You can sell this contract to someone else to collect premium. So basically, you're going to sell the right to someone else to buy your shares away from you for a certain price by a certain date. And in return, you get paid a premium. And this is what a lot of my students, my members do. They sell contracts for $200, $300, $400, sometimes even $800, depending on what the season is. And they have multiple contracts. So that's why they are able to collect a couple hundred, couple $1,000, depending on their portfolio size, of course. This is something that I do on top of collecting dividends. Great question. Conan says, how do I sign up? Okay, so the secret way to getting this discount is by following these 3 steps. You can go to calltoleap.com, sign in with your Google account, which is on the top right-hand corner, and then in the menu bar, it'll say pricing. You can click on that and then you can purchase it with the discounted code, discounted price. And this is only for people who are watching this video right now. Awesome. Great question. Okay, we have around 27 seats left. Cool. I see Annalyn just signed up, and Auralia and Brandon. And I see Trish just signed up, and Nick, George, and Brandon. Oh, no, I already said Brandon. And Emily just signed up. Awesome. Very cool. Welcome, everyone. For those of you who just joined, again, go to the dashboard, sign up for Discord. My coach and I, my moderators, will unlock you, and then wait for those emails to show up in your inbox. I'm going to send you that coaching email for July. Okay, so this way we can start chatting. Christina says, why would someone buy a covered call? This is a great question, Christina. I'm actually not going to answer this because it gets a little bit too involved, but I'll probably talk about it in another live stream. This is a great question. This is seriously, these are all great questions. Raven says, how can I join Discord? Great question. When you sign in, Raven, you can go to the dashboard, and if you scroll to the bottom, there should be a button where it says join Discord. Vika says, are there any limits, contribution limits for traditional IRAs? No. However, there are contribution limits for Roth IRAs. If you're younger than 50 years old, you can contribute up to $7,000 for 2024. If you are older than 50, you can contribute up to $8,000. The IRS lets you do this because they know that a lot of people in their 50s, they haven't invested yet, so they give them a little bit of catch-up time. So this way they can invest a little bit more money. And of course, they don't want to let this contribution limit be super high, like, $30,000 or anything, because they know a lot of wealthy people are going to take advantage of this, so they can get that tax-free advantage at 59.5. Great questions. Okay, so we have around 21 seats left. If you guys want to join, I am going to be closing the registration soon. Nikita says, is collecting dividends the same as stock loaning? No, it's not. You're basically going to be an asset holder, asset investor. You buy the shares that pay some sort of dividend, hold on to it for 3 months or so, and then you're going to get paid that dividend payout. Great question. Bonita says, I am just starting out in investing at the age of 54. What would be the best way to start investing with $2,000? I would say get your feet wet a little bit. For me, if I were a beginner, I would just probably buy 1, 2, or 3 shares of an S&P 500 fund and just see how the volatility is like, okay? And if I can stomach the volatility, right? Which over time, you will. All my members, they are able to stomach the volatility. They're like, oh, okay, this is very normal. Even when we have a pullback or correction, they actually get very excited. They're like, oh, yay, it's a 10% drop, 20% drop. Even when the stock market news is super negative, it's like, oh, yeah, this analyst says that the stock market's going to drop down to 0. But we all know that it's just very clickbaity. People are just all these CNBC articles, Yahoo Finance articles. They just want you to click on their article so they can make ad revenue from you, right? But we know that it's not that scary with investing, right? Once you have your toes wet, you want to set up recurring deposits and start putting money inside your Roth IRA, your brokerage, so this way you can add more fuel to the fire, because this is how compound interest is going to really work. Great questions. Okay, we have around 19 seats left. Thank you, everyone, for just joining. Let me see. Artie Bis Cocho says, I'm on mobile and having trouble signing up. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. But I made it kind of challenging to sign up because I don't want everyone to get the discount. But for those of you who know the secret pathway, it's right here. In order to get the secret discount, you can go to calltoleave.com and you have to click on the top right-hand corner to log in with your Google account. Once you do that, you then click on the pricing button, which is in the menu bar, and then you can scroll down and then click on the discounted price. The discounted price should then pop up like magically there. All right, great questions. Oh, welcome Al and Fee and Cynthia and Deepthi and Susan and Shannon. Welcome, welcome. And Kim too. Welcome. Awesome. Very cool. All right. So we have around 19 seats left. Zoya says, should I reinvest dividends? Well, it really depends on what your goals are. If you're someone who says, I don't want to really manage my dividends, then sure, you can reinvest it by enabling this function called DRIP, or Dividend Reinvestment Plan. If you click on the check mark, whenever there's a dividend payout for a certain security, like an S&P 500 fund or a stock, then that money will be automatically reinvested into that stock, and your brokerage will automatically buy some fractional shares of the same fund or the same stock, if that makes sense. Great question. So if you want to go autopilot, you can do that. Or I know a lot of my members, they will just take out their dividends and use that as income too. Just kind of like Warren Buffett, right? Especially if you have dividends coming out from a taxable brokerage account. Oh, awesome. Drew just got it. Welcome, Drew. Welcome, welcome. Karen says, I'm an independent contractor. I started with a Roth IRA and now have a SEP IRA. Is this going to cause a problem in the future? No, you can actually have both. Awesome. You have 2 IRAs. Very cool. No problem, Nicholas. I have another question. Steve, I have a 401k. Can I open a Roth on Fidelity? And this is from Cherry. Yes, you can have a 401k and a Roth IRA. So when I was a teacher, I had a 403b and a Roth IRA at the same time. So you can have both of them. Great question. Mark Reynolds says, do you have a budgeting course? You know what? I actually have a book called Financial Freedom Faster, and it's actually free. And I promise you, I'm 99% sure that you will learn a lot from it, especially if you want to get into budgeting. And I make everything super easy to understand. I write it as if I were to write it to my 6th graders, my 7th graders. Everything step by step. I go, step 1, click here. Step 2, type in your expenses, your fixed expenses. Step 3, type in your income here, and then it'll do this budgeting, it'll do the calculations for you. I also have a money cheat sheet that goes along with the book. All of that is free. You can find it on my website. I think it's under resources, or maybe it's in the description down below too. Very cool. Okay, we have around 16 seats, no, 15 seats? Okay, and then I'm going to close the registration soon. Very cool. All right. I'll answer a couple more questions, and then, yeah. Carla says, could you say again the name of the book? Yeah, it's called Financial Freedom Faster, and it comes with my money cheat sheet. It's usually the money cheat sheet that you see in my videos that I point to, where I list out all the steps on how to open up a Roth IRA, how to budget, what level budgeter everyone should aim to become. So all of that is included with the book, and it's absolutely free. Like, everything is free. Because I want to try, my goal is to create as much value, provide as much value to everyone all over the world, especially if they are someone who is in debt. Maybe they want to learn how to budget. They want to increase their earned income. I talk about all of that. Welcome, Joey and Steven and Lydia and Devo and Melissa and Betty and Valerie and Angelina and Neptune. That's a cool name, Neptune. And Sandra. Welcome, welcome. Awesome. A lot of you guys just signed up right now. Very cool. And Mercedes just signed up too. Welcome, Mercedes. Awesome. Cool. Okay. All right, everyone. This is pretty much it. I'm going to close this screen right here. So this way, not a lot of people will know how to get to that secret discount. So if you guys want to join, it's at calltoleap.com. Feel free to join by following these 3 rules. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for joining. You guys are awesome. I really hope you guys learned a lot from today, and it really encouraged you to start investing, Because remember, in order to build true wealth, we have to shift our mindset into not just working for our money, but letting our money work for us. And we can do it little by little, right? Even if you're just investing $50, $100 a month, baby steps, that's totally okay because everyone has to start from somewhere, right? Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for joining again. You guys are awesome. And I hope to see you all in my next live stream or in my videos or in the comment section in my videos. All right. I want to take some time to say goodbye to everyone here. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Parker and Tracy. You're awesome. Thank you, Tracy Fleming and Jesse Perez and Elizabeth. Thank you. I see Maria says thank you. Thank you, Maria. And Mark from Moving Minds and Vanessa. Moving Mind says drip, dividend reinvestment plan. Thank you, Rachel and Sylvia and Carmen and Vika and the Rainbow and Sunshine Twins. Ooh, cool name. And Pat and Joanna and Maria, John Clark and Jonathan with a Y and Lynn and Carla and Evalis and Carmelita. Oh my gosh, so many comments. I don't think I can keep up. It's just going crazy right now. Thank you, Nick and Emily, Kreia, and Daisy, and Mohammed, and Jake and Letty with a happy face, and Mary and Kim and Jamie, who says fire with a lot of E's, and Phil says thanks, Steve, with a lot of E's too. Okay, all right. You guys have a wonderful evening.